Hello and welcome to episode number 131 of WP Cafe, the show where we share the real, unfiltered experience of running a WordPress business. I'm Keith Devon and I'm joined by my co-host Mark Wilkinson. We're from Highrise Digital, a tiny agency building WordPress websites and products. Today we've got a lot of things to talk about. Specifically and quite excitingly, some stuff coming in WordPress 6.9, as well as some other kind of community news and tools and courses and blog posts and things that we've seen recently, and some experiences we've had this week running our own business. So lots to talk about. So grab yourself a beverage and settle in for the show. As always, you can follow us on X at wpcafeshow. We're also on Blue Sky. We're on the internet at wpcafe.show and on YouTube. If you're following us along live, please say hello and on your favorite podcast player so you can find us everywhere you find shows like this normally. If you do enjoy today's episode, please do give us a little like. It takes half a second and it really makes a big difference. And if you want more content like this, also please do consider subscribing to the show either on YouTube or your podcast player. Let's get going. Mark, how's your week been?
It's been good. Busy, actually, very busy. I have a new mic as well, you might have noticed. Hopefully it's sounding super crisp and clear. We'll see.
Yeah, sounds pretty
let
good.
me know. Yeah, it's been a busy week. Lots of calls, lots of appointments, lots of, I don't know, I'm just looking at my calendar. I always look at my calendar when you ask that question. And it's just got blobs everywhere, like stuff going on. So it's been a really hectic week, but it's been good. We've had a few really positive sales calls for like website projects, which is like a novelty these days. They don't seem to happen very often. And then we've had like 2 or 3 come along at the same time, which has been positive.
Potentially decent ones too. So
some really nice people and good projects to get you to, not too difficult, but pushing the boundaries a little bit, which is always nice, which is good. So it's been good. Other than that, just plodding along, running Highrise Digital and doing WordPress things. How about you?
Kind of similar, taken up by the same kind of things, really. What was I doing earlier on in the week? I can't even really remember. Oh, there's some ongoing stuff for our big recruitment agency client, implementing their new designs across their various brands. So we're kind of rolling out a new design, but we're doing it brand by brand because I think they need to get kind of sign off for each of the individual brands. It's not like a global change we could push. So we've kind of implemented it on one site. And then we've rolled it out on the next site, and then we've rolled it out on the next site. So I'm kind of going down that process. Built a little animated module, call to action module for a school client of ours. So a bit of front end stuff, which was kind of fun. And then like you say, the sales calls and things, and it's been good. A few decent projects in the pipeline. I really hope we can secure at least one of these because they're chunky. They'd keep us busy for a little while, and it'd be really, really good to get one of those. So fingers crossed for that. So it's been a good week. But there's lots of stuff on the list for today's show. I think you've added most of that, Mark. So we've got like WordPress 6.9 to talk about. We've got blueprints to talk about, which I'm intrigued to know what you know about that because I know very little about blueprints. It's something I haven't really paid much attention to. I know some people are very excited about that, so that'll be interesting. There's something from Remkus about performance bottlenecks. Telex, if you haven't come across that, WordPress is kind of built-in AI block builder, I believe. And then something just from our own experience this week about when kind of support calls become kind of general WordPress assistants and kind of how to handle that kind of situation. So let's jump into it. We'll just go down the list from the top, Mark, I think, today.
A couple of hellos first. Hi to Courtney. Thanks for joining us. And also for Jackson, who is joining us as well. Afternoon. Thank you for coming along. I say afternoon. It might not be afternoon where you are, of course, but it is for us. Anyway, fire away.
Yeah, well, blueprints. What do you know about blueprints? So this is specifically a WordPress.com blog post that you posted under developer tools and studio and blueprints. So blueprints in WordPress Studio. What do you know about this?
So I don't use WordPress Studio, and if you don't know, WordPress Studio, from my understanding, is like a local development tool. So you can build WordPress websites locally using WordPress Studio. Now, I believe it uses the same technology that the WordPress Playground uses, which is kind of all in browser. So,
okay,
I presume that means you don't need PHP or all sorts of things running on your website on your machine, because it's happening in the browser in some sort of magical way that I don't understand. But anyway, that's how WordPress Studio works. I've not used it. I still use MAMP. I'm wedded in my ways. But this feature in particular sort of piqued my interest. And what it is you can set up what they're calling blueprints, which are essentially like a recipe for creating a local site. And probably the easiest way of explaining that is to say, hey, set me up a WordPress site. I want it on version 6.8. I want it on PHP 8.2. I want it to have this plugin, and this plugin installed. I want you to install and activate this theme, etc., etc. And you can even do things like, set the admin user's color scheme to blue because they're really picky and they like it blue. Various things like that. And you just kind of import that locally, and bang, you've got your website with all those things set up and created.
Okay.
So that got me thinking, would that be useful for us? And the answer to that would be yes, except from all the examples that I saw, it was pulling WordPress.org, I think, or was it .com, but the same, the repo's the same. So it was pulling WordPress.org plugins, WordPress.org themes. We might want to do that with a lot of plugins because they are on WordPress.org, but we probably want to be doing some GitHub repos or something like that. So, and I couldn't find any documentation about how to do that. I would be surprised if you can't, or at the very least, if you will be able to shortly. Surely that is a really good feature to have. But what I thought was like so excited about it is that it's just a JSON file. That's all it is. It's just a JSON file. So I could literally share the JSON file with you, and as long as you're running WordPress Studio, you could just say, create me a new website, upload the blueprint file, go, and you'd have exactly the same site with all the plugins and settings and things that I'm working on. So I think that's quite cool.
For me, that sounds a little bit like how you might use Composer on the maybe more PHP side of things. So, you could potentially ask Composer to pull in this plugin and that plugin, but this seems to take it a little step further in terms of its actual WordPress configurations as well as well as the code itself.
All the documentation is what you can and can't do with it, but it seemed to be that there was some sort of like, there was steps that you could add. So step was like, and then the action was install plugin, and then you give it the source and so forth. I think there's a lot more that they could demonstrate with it, but I just thought it was interesting. A lot of the things that I've seen that do this, they end up being quite complicated. So someone that knows how to do it, like a composer expert, they can set this up, but then I've got to do something on my end when I get the copy of this, and that seems complicated for a start. I've got to install Composer, which, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all command line based. And
whereas this seems much more straightforward, and it's just a JSON file, which you could have in your repo and version control. For example. And all you need to do is install that and upload it like, you do all the time on the web. Click a button, select the file, go. And I just thought that was way more easier to do.
Who is this pitched at? Like, what are the kind of use cases for this? Because I can't. Can you see us using this? Because I feel like we do run WordPress on a proper like local server. We don't run it in the browser. Why would we want to? What are the limitations of that? What are the kind of opportunities that might open up that we don't currently have? I'm not quite sure how this fits in for us, and actually anybody. I don't really know what the use case is.
Yeah, good question. I'm not sure at the moment, but it's meant for developers, I think. So surely that's the thing. What are the disadvantages of running WordPress in Studio rather than what you use local, don't you? I think. Yeah. So I use MAMP. So like they're proper. Well, I know I can say for MAMP. I can't say for local, so I don't use it. But MAMP's running PHP on your site. It's running MySQL. It's and so on. What are the advantages of doing it in the Playground version? I don't know.
I just don't understand the technology at all. So like when you're, say you've given me a blueprint and I'm booting this up in Studio.
Yeah.
Like, is all that code downloaded and saved somewhere locally? Or is it literally run kind of virtually and it's all just loaded into the browser? And if so, what are we actually doing as developers? Like, can we manipulate that code like we would be writing code and fixing bugs? And I just don't, the whole concept
No, I agree.
to me. I don't get it.
I haven't used it, but surely if it's a developer tool, that code must be on your site to manipulate and check. Like, you can't do anything otherwise, can you? You can just literally view it. So I would imagine that is the case. But I just thought it had potential with the ease of the system that they've done. A lot of those, like you say, systems like Composer, and I know people say, well, they're not complicated, you just got to learn it. For me, they're always a little bit of a step too far just to be able to dive into it, whereas this seemed a really simple way of sharing the same environment, or the same setup, not environment, perhaps is the wrong word, easily. But I said, we don't use it. I've never used it. I probably should have a look at it, really. I know lots of people have had a go with it and say it's good. So
yeah, I'll have to look into it. Yeah, I must say, when WordPress Studio came out, I wasn't really sure what it was. I thought it was a competitor to things like local WP, but it seems to be quite different. So I'm not entirely sure. It'd be interesting if anyone else has any feedback on have they used WordPress Studio or Blueprints or Playground. I haven't even used Playground yet. Like, this feels like a whole kind of area of WordPress that I just haven't. It just hasn't seemed relevant to me, but maybe it massively is. Maybe there's stuff that I'm missing out on by not exploring this stuff. But yeah,
I haven't used Playground. I came across Playground actually not for the first time, because I've had a play with it. But what I thought was really cool is I was using earlier this week. I was asked to make some changes to a query loop block. Get the wording right. And what the customer wanted to do, this is completely going off tangent, but anyway, wanted to do was to exclude a category from the homepage. So we have a query block on the homepage that pulls in the latest news items. I think it was just one, actually. It might be three. I can't remember. And they wanted to write an article, but they didn't want it to show on the homepage. So I thought, well, the easy way of doing that is we just create a category for this particular category of thing they want to write. It was alumni, I think it was. They don't want any alumni posts to show on the homepage, so we'll just exclude that. So I go into the query loop block, and there is no exclude. Like, you can query by a category. You can say only show this category, but you can't say show all except this category. So I did a bit of research, which generally involves ChatGPT these days, and it came up with the advanced query loop block plugin, mouthful, which I think is from Ryan. I can't remember his surname, apologies. But he built this, and it's basically an add-on for the query loop block, and it enhances it.
Yeah.
And that allows you to exclude from things. So anyway, long story short, I excluded it, I added it to the site and everything, it worked. And I just suddenly thought, like, that is a really good plugin, and I haven't left like a plugin review for ages. So I thought, right, I'm going to review it. I'm going to say it was a wonderful plugin because I really thought it was easy to use, did exactly what I wanted. So I jumped onto the review thing. I filled in my review, and then I saw this button that said, where it says download plugin on the view, and then it said view in Playground. I thought, oh, that's interesting. I've seen Playground. Clicked it, and it literally loads WordPress in the browser with his plugin in the editor, and you can start playing with it.
Yeah, really cool. That's cool.
That was really cool. Like, literally, I'm thinking about using this plugin. I can literally click a button, and I can see it in action, and I can think, yeah, that does exactly what I want, or that doesn't do what I want, actually, or whatever. So that was really good.
Was it just a blank, like vanilla WordPress install with that plugin installed? On like, which page does it open in the edit screen?
Yeah, it literally opened
something already on the screen, or like
it opened a post, and a query loop block was an advanced query loop block was on the thing on the post, so it literally took me straight to the plugin. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. So presumably, if you're running a plugin that has like a settings screen, you could take someone straight to that screen in WordPress when they've installed it, maybe, or you might want to take them into the editor with a block, or I don't. Depends what your plugin is, isn't it? But you get the idea.
Yeah.
You must have options to take them in. But that was great. Really good use of it, and a nice way to show your plugin off.
Is that something you have to set up as a plugin developer? Like, set up that blueprint, or does that kind of happen somehow automatically? Do you know? Because we could try that out.
Don't know.
We could try that out with the advanced video embeds plugin that we have.
Must be something you do as part of the README file, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you like point it to a Playground instance if that's a thing? Yeah, I guess so. I'd have to check how to do it, but yeah, I thought it was really good use of it. Really nice little experience of being able to just see the plugin in action, albeit after I'd actually used it. But never mind.
yeah. Very good.
That was good.
Cool. Lots to learn about in Studio and blueprints and Playground and all that kind of stuff. Very good.
Jackson and Courtney say that they all use local WP, which I believe is what you use, don't you?
It is.
And Courtney says local environments have had blueprints for many years, much like hosting environments allow you to duplicate installs.
Yeah.
So you've already got this, Keith, apparently.
Well, I've got something like that, but it's, I don't know, blueprints? What would I call it, a blueprint? I don't know. Yeah.
I always get the feeling from you that you're not particularly wedded to local. Like, you're not... I see a lot of people in the community that are like really passionate about it and like, oh, it's amazing and I use it and it's great. I get the feeling you just use it and it's kind of there and it does the job and it's all right, but I'm not that bothered.
100%. And maybe that's showing how good it is. The fact that I don't worry about it. Like it just does its thing. If I need a new local website, I quickly fire one up and that's that, and then it just works from then on. Yeah, I don't have any problems with it. I don't have any particular love for it. I can't even remember why I switched it, because I was on MAMP, I think, for a long time. I can't remember why I went to local. I think I tried a few things and landed there, and it's just stuck. So yeah, I mean,
it's obviously doing the job. Yeah,
exactly.
We'd have binned it off.
Yeah, but I'm not a power user, you know what I mean? I just want something that just gives me a local WordPress website. I don't want to tinker, and I don't want to experiment with all the features and do all the possible things. I just need simple WordPress websites running on my machine. And I just need that to work. Changing the version of PHP and stuff like that is useful, and it does that, and that's basically all I ever do. So yeah, I'm a very simple man.
It obviously works well.
Yeah. So WordPress 6.9, there's a roadmap up for that. You had found a blog, I believe, Anne McCarthy's blog. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's talking about some of the things that are coming. And there's also other blog posts out there. There's one on the Make blog about what's coming in 6.9. So what are you excited about?
I think excited might be overstating it, but there are certainly some things that are certainly going to be of use, or certainly things we could have a look at investigating using. The headline things in the post I was looking at are the ability to hide blocks. I was a little bit unsure about this one. In that it seems obviously that you can build out a page and then you can hide, and then it won't show on the front end, but it's obviously still there. It's still in the post. So that's very much like Nick Diego's visibility plugin, where you can sort of, it does all sorts, doesn't it? But this seemed to miss what I thought was a key component of hiding blocks, which was some sort of condition.
Yeah, this is a much more simplified version. Yeah, it's just like, just hide this from the front end. Let me edit it on the back end, but don't show it in the front end.
Don't show it in the front, which I think is useful. Don't get me wrong.
I like it.
I think it's useful. But it does seem to me that it needs that condition, like, hide this if the front end is running Chrome, or I hide this if the front end is.
I just don't think that's what this is at this point. I think you're right that like Nick's plugin block visibility should possibly be in core. I think it's so useful.
It is.
We'll use it on pretty much every site going forward until it is rolled into core, I would say. But this is not that. You know, this is very much I'm working on the page. I've already got a home page. I know we're going to add this new section to it, and I want to make a start, and I need to be able to save that somewhere. I need to be able to save it and come back to it and finish it, but it can't be live. It can't be shown on the front end. I think it's more of an editorial thing, this, rather than a kind of front-facing changes for different users. But maybe it'll come. Maybe this is laying the groundwork for what you're talking about.
Yeah, but the groundwork's already there for that, like in that plugin.
Yeah, but plugins aren't always. Plugins are plugins. You know, they're add-ons. They're not always the best way to do things if you're going to integrate it into the kind of core system and build upon, like, going forward. Yeah. I'm sure Nick wrote it in a very clever way, and it's probably as close as you're going to get. But yeah.
So that was one that I thought
was a good one.
I was trying to think, like, our customers would our customers. I mean, you've kind of already got it because we've probably got the visibility plugin installed, but would our customers like use that? And probably the answer is yes. Actually, like you said, you know, adding a new feature to a page, and actually we're not ready to post this live, so we'll just hide it in the back end, hide it, and then it won't show in the front end until we've finished it, type thing. So I thought that it could be useful. So that was one of them.
I like it.
The other ones were like the command palette everywhere, but I've
never used the command palette.
Never used it, so I don't see the point in that. But then people do, so it's fine. Block commenting.
I like this one. I like it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be potentially great. I guess my only issue with block commenting is that there's just, when you're working on a web project, there's so many places that you can add comments now. It's like there's comments on Figma files, there's comments on Google Docs, there's comments on WordPress blocks, there's comments that, like, it's just another stream of comments and another place for conversations to live. Be interesting to see if there's going to be any integrations. Like, can you integrate block comments with Slack, for example, and pull everything into one place? That could be quite cool. But I think I think it's potentially useful for someone to be in the editor, and I'm talking about this thing. Like, I can imagine it solving a lot of our problems that we have with client communication, where they're saying, "Can you fix such and such?" And like, which page is it on? What block are you talking about? But it'll be so contextual. It'll be like, I'm talking about this specific thing right here, and I think that could be really useful. But yeah, my worry is just that it pulls the conversation out of, like, project management tools and things like that, and into this whole new system that you have to keep track of. I think that's my only concern. But
well, something to keep an eye on and see how it progresses. But
and I think useful. Again, like, when you're talking about WordPress as like a publishing tool, like if you were running a blog, like that was your business, like it's a news site or it's a blog, you can totally imagine that, like, commenting for editors and authors and things like that will be super useful. So maybe we're not the target market, but I'm quite excited for that. I think that's a good thing.
It looks like it's got some decent tools, like, you know, resolving comments and unresolved comments and things. So worth keeping an eye on if if you're running sites where you know that's going to be beneficial. I'm not sure the sites, our customers, have enough editorial people to warrant doing that. As from an editorial standpoint, you know, I've written this, what do you think? But from a support input structure, I think that might work for us. But you know, there's other things that do the same, so we'll see. But yeah, it's good. There's some new blocks coming. So we've got, I think we mentioned this the other week, but there's an accordion block, a terms query block, which is interesting. So I presume that is to show the terms in a taxonomy with links to the term archive pages. So that would be good for, like, a directory type site, maybe. Yeah. Because at the moment you can't do that, I don't think. You can list, like, categories or tax. I don't know, actually. Anyway, it's there.
Yeah.
Breadcrumbs block.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I can't believe we don't have that yet.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. An icon block.
Yeah, again, that's a no-brainer for me. Yeah.
Stretchy text. I don't really know what that is. And I do wonder, is that very niche?
I have no idea what stretchy text is. Like,
but it's been muted as a block, so
I will just read the intro to the, I don't know if this is a PR or an issue. Introduces a new stretchy text variation for the group block that automatically scales text content to fit the container dimensions while preserving proportional relationships between different text elements. Wow. Okay. I sort of think I understand that. I don't know how that's relevant to a group block, but maybe that does make sense. I'm going to have to dig into that.
Anyway, stretchy text. If that's something you've been pining for, you're going to get it. Or, well, you may going to get it. Obviously, it's not a defined list until it gets launched.
Yeah.
A tabs block, and then stabilizing the time to read block. I didn't know we had one. Time to read block.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there you go. And table of contents block, stabilizing that as well. So a few new blocks and looks like a few enhancements that are on the way for 6.9 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what the tabs block is? Any idea what that is? I mean, is it as obvious as it sounds? I'm not sure.
One would assume it's
like
some sort of tabbed interface.
Yeah. Because I know
it sounds a bit like an accordion to me, but on its side.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. We've got this accordion block coming, and then we've got a tab block coming. And it's like, are they not just sort of like two different design styles of the same thing? But maybe from like a user's point of view, an editor's point of view, they're different. We know that the kind of markup behind them is probably very similar. But yeah, that's kind of fascinating that like 5-6 years after Gutenberg's release, we're getting tabs and accordions. Like, it's kind of like if we didn't need them 5 years ago, do we really need them now? I don't know. It just seems strange. I was also thinking about the accordion block, how that fits in with the details block, because I thought the details block was essentially accordion's light. Do you know what I mean? And that you could just use the details block as an accordion, which is what we've done a couple of times.
You kind of can do, can't you?
Can,
it's just that they don't talk to each other, do they? So I wonder if this accordion block it. You can make them do that with like grouping them, and then but out of the box they don't talk to each other. As in, the one above doesn't know the one below is open. Whereas maybe this does.
Simple JavaScript, though, that again, that feels like that could have just been an extension of something we already had, rather than, or maybe that's what this is.
Maybe it could be,
But like under the hood, it's a bunch of details blocks.
It could be
just like the row block is actually just a variation of the group block. It could be that kind of thing. I'm not sure.
We'll see what we're better there.
Yeah, there's quite a lot coming in this release. It's quite, maybe exciting is the wrong word, but simplified site editing. Again, I'm not exactly sure what they're going for there. I think it's taking some of the more page buildery style controls away, so you're focused more just on content. But then I've never really been one to use all those different modes, like those distraction-free modes and full screen modes and all that kind of stuff. So again, that's not massively exciting for me. And then there's a bunch of updates to some of the APIs. Block bindings could be interesting, what they do with block bindings, because I think there was loads of potential with block bindings that kind of just, it was like, okay, well, you can bind this kind of block and this kind of block and this kind of block, and that was it. And actually it was like, oh no, hang on, for this to be useful, we need it just to go like a step or two further. So hopefully they're pushing that a bit further and we can make more use of block bindings. Again, the interactivity API is not something we've really played with, and there's some updates for that. The abilities API I've seen a couple of times recently and don't understand what it is. Have you come across that at all? Abilities API?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I don't.
I've got no clue what that is.
I don't really know what it's something to do with AI, I think, isn't it? And allowing AI to know what stuff is. I think I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. The ability of what? Yeah, I'm not sure. There you go. But that's yeah. When's that coming? When's 6.9 due to land? Is it here? December 2nd.
Yeah.
December 2nd. Yeah. This is coming soon enough. It's coming soon enough.
Getting closer. Getting closer. Some good stuff.
Yeah, very good.
Where are we now? Going back to my notes.
Remkus.
Yes, Remkus. Let me load that page. So this was a blog post that I came across. It was also mentioned on the WP Builds this week in WordPress. That's how they call it.
Yeah.
Which I'd seen it before that, and I thought we'd put it in the show notes. This is called "How I Diagnose WordPress Performance Bottlenecks." For those that don't know, I'm sure you do know, but Remkus is extremely hot on performance. And this particular post is like a little bit of a guide, step by step, on if you've got like a slow site, these are the steps that he would take to try and find the issue, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I haven't followed the steps on a site, but when I read the post, it actually is quite a nice non-developery, like it's easy to understand what he's talking about. So if you have a site that is struggling, just have a read of this blog post, and maybe there's some low-hanging fruit that you can find that will really help you, and not necessarily technical things. So worth having a read of.
It's a pretty short post. It's very
It's not a long read. It's just short, to the point, easy to understand, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
That is on remkusdevries.com. You'll find it on his blog.
I'll give him a little plug as well. He has pre-launched his Make WordPress Fast course.
Yes.
So you can buy that now too, or at least pre-buy it. So yeah, check that out if you're into WordPress performance. Like you say, Remkus knows what he's talking about. So yeah, highly.
I must admit, I'm tempted by that course.
Yeah, go for it.
It's I don't often see things these days that are sort of my realm. It's always like front-endy blocks and stuff. But this sort of like, well, that could be good for me. That, so I don't know. I might give that a shot. I think.
So you buy a license. It's currently $279.
Yeah.
For the kind of pre-sale. 25 modules, full stack performance curriculum. Yeah, I think that could be really good.
It's a really nice landing page as well.
It's a very nice landing page. Yeah, really simple. But
do you know what? It looks very much like the WP Café page in terms of font. I wonder if it uses Ollie.
I wouldn't be surprised if he uses Ollie. I really wouldn't be.
Yeah, it looks. It's got the same style, obviously different colours, but it's got the same sort of like feel and like a designer has a style.
Yes,
it's got that same style as you look at it. It just feels like it's the same style.
Can I find out?
But it's very nice. I like it.
Yeah, good work, Remkus. Good luck with the course. I hope that goes really well.
So that's that. Some useful information there for sure. The next thing was Telex. Have you had a look at Telex, Keith?
No, I've heard of it, and I've heard people talking about it, but I haven't. It is Ollie, by the way. Good spot. Good spot. No, I haven't. So just. I mean, having not used it, I can't really introduce it too well. But as far as I know, it is a AI block building tool within WordPress. So you tell WordPress what kind of block you want it to make, and it will build you a block, and it will work first time every time.
Well,
is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. And I was like, yeah, whatever. So I did it. I followed it, and I asked it to build me a block which would allow me to show a before and after. And the reason was this: I was looking on I was reading a BBC article about the destruction in Gaza, which is horrific, and it had like a before and after image of like it was an aerial shot, and I just. And then the next thing I did was I ended up looking at this, and I thought, well, all right, fair enough. Let's build a before and after where you can slide a slider over, so it'll show the before and after. And it did, literally with a sentence. It produced the entire thing. I downloaded it as a zip file, and it just worked perfectly.
My goodness, interesting.
I couldn't believe
it.
So it does look pretty good. I think it's still in beta officially, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it was. But yeah, it did a really good job from the sentence that I gave it. I do wonder, is it better than like a Chat GPT doing that? If I gave the same prompt to Chat GPT, what is the difference? I'm not sure.
Presumably,
did a good
context is the difference. In terms of behind the scenes, there's presumably a lot of rules and instructions that are making it do its job well. So if I, for example, use Cursor just out of the box and just say, build me a WordPress plugin that does this, it's probably going to get it quite badly wrong. But if I say I want to use these kind of coding standards and I want to use this kind of structure and make sure that you use modern JavaScript and make sure that you do this and make sure you check that, and here's my code base, then it does a much, much better job. And I'm assuming that Telex is basically that. It's been given all of the kind of advice and context and guardrails built into it.
It knows WordPress. Yeah, I get the point.
It knows WordPress. Yeah, exactly.
Go and have a play with it, though.
Yeah, I'd quite like to have a play. Comment from Elliot here. Hi, Elliot. I thought you might have something to say on Telex. Elliot says, I'm not so sure Telex is a good idea. We could end up with thousands of sites with single blocks that never get updated. Big security issue, in my opinion. I agree, but actually, that's not Telex's problem. That ship has sailed. That's an AI problem for me, right? Because any old developer or site owner is going to be doing this anyway. Like, I had a friend build it. I've mentioned this on the show before. You know, a year or two ago, he was building his own website. He is not a technical guy at all. And he had the confidence to ask ChatGPT to build him a WordPress plugin to solve a certain, I can't remember what it was, like a quote calculator or something. And he built his own block. And then this guy has never written a line of code in his life. So I just feel like that's, people like us are already using it to build one-off solutions to things. Like I kind of agree that it's going to be a problem. But I think the genie's out of the bottle on that one. I don't think it's going back in. Personally,
I'm not sure it's a Telex issue. I think that's just an AI issue, really. That's gone that way. But Elliot also says, let me just check this on the screen. Personally, I prefer to bundle all my blocks in a suite nested in my own plugin. That's an interesting way, because we do the opposite, actually. If we do build a block for someone, it usually is a single plugin, and then we can turn it on and off, and we can move it to another site if we want to. I think that's our preferred way, but each your own. It works. Depends what site you're working on and what it's running and what you're building and whether it's very specific to the site and so forth. So, no best way, but that's a different way we tend to handle it, which is another method.
A couple of other comments. A hello from Excelams. Hi. Hello. Nice to see you here, as usual. Courtney says, you still can't change the burger menu icon or color. Good luck if you use a darker background color in your header. Crazy to me, we still don't have the basics years down the line. I completely agree with that, and that kind of goes alongside Jackson's comment here, who says, I wish the resources that are being put into things like Telex would be put into getting FSC and missing blocks and missing features in blocks, full site editing, etc. Really must be a very, very difficult balance. I'm just gonna defend whoever needs defending here to balance those things. Like, there's kind of little things that are broken and could be improved, and then and should be like fixed and improved. But there's also this like existential massive stuff going on, like AI, that you kind of can't ignore. And I can understand why the Abilities API, which is apparently an AI thing, and things like Telex are being looked at, because there are huge opportunities in this space and huge threats in terms of if other people go to market with these kinds of tools before you do, WordPress potentially could just get completely wiped out. So do you ignore telex and AI in general and fix the menu icon problem? Do you know what I mean? I know they're not equivalent in terms of development time, so that's not a fair comment, really. But like, you kind of have to do a bit of both. You have to be doing some of the like small stuff, and you have to be doing some of the big future-looking existential stuff at the same time, I think.
I think it's worth mentioning roles here. So telex is an automatic product. They are not WordPress. So they can build what they want with their time, and they've decided to build telex.
That's true.
Jackson's comment kind of implies that automatic should be working on WordPress. Forgive me if that's not what you meant. And that's not necessarily what they should be. That's their choice to work on whatever they want to work on. They do an awful lot on WordPress, which is great for everybody. But they've chosen to build this tool, which, it isn't the WordPress.org tool. It isn't on WordPress.org. It builds WordPress blocks, but that's it,
And, I don't know what the process is like these days for contributing to core. And I usually hate it when people use this argument. But I would say if there are small things that need to be fixed and you work for a fairly large organization, get them to put some development resources into it to fix it. I don't know. It is a tricky one, but I get the feeling that it's not always that easy stroke rewarding to try to work on WordPress these days, in terms of getting involved with core and getting your changes merged and things like that. So if there's resistance there, I completely understand it.
And I think it's become a whole lot more, I don't know whether difficult's the right word. It's difficult for me because the technology has changed so much.
Yeah.
I would argue has got a lot more difficult. I mean, you get better outcomes. I get that. But before, when we were just editing PHP files, essentially, there's more to it than that. But you get the point. That was much easier probably to get involved with than it is now. I don't really know how to develop for that site editor and the React and the block. I couldn't. So I wonder if the pool of people that can actually contribute has reduced. But I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Courtney's just responded to that. You can't contribute. You get told your ideas don't fit. It's incredibly unhelpful process and not remotely developer friendly. You can only contribute to ideas that exist already under the Git issues. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, pretty difficult. Maybe we make a plugin that fixes it and you'll get 10 million downloads. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I feel your pain there, Courtney. I totally understand that. We had one more thing to chat about, which we can just talk about very briefly because we did say that we would. So I think this was an experience maybe that you had this week, Mark.
I was on a call this week about our product, Job Relay. Just some support, some help, and so on. And when I got onto the call, they actually started asking questions about WordPress support, general support, how do I find this and where would I put this and so on. And I just found myself in a really awkward position. You naturally want to help someone, but you're thinking, I've been on this call 10 minutes now. You haven't actually talked about the thing that the call was booked for. So what point do you just I felt myself really uncomfortable. I wanted to just say, stop a minute, I'm not helping you do this, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I just wondered if anyone else had experience of that, and how do you sort of bring that to a close and say to the customer, this is not our product, this is not what I'm here to provide support for.
Maybe just exactly that.
Stop talking about it and get on to
maybe it is exactly that. It's like just this is out kind of out. I hate the phrase, outside of the scope of what our product does. This isn't really related to what our product does. Can we focus on the problem you're having with X instead? But the thing is, I know who you're talking about, and there are characters out there who we're dealing with humans. You know, we're squishy and mushy and messy, and I don't think there's a way to just get rid of the problem. This kind of problem. There's gonna be people that push boundaries. There's gonna be people that don't know boundaries. There's gonna be, you know, all kinds of different personalities, and it's
interesting because I found, I think we pride ourselves on what we want to help people, and actually, you know, if I'm on a call and someone asks me a question, it takes me 2 minutes to respond, or I tend to, you know, I don't mind that. It's just that this particular call didn't seem to understand that boundary themselves. It was more, exactly. It was, oh, right, they've answered that. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go down the list.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between the call. I would much rather spend an extra few minutes on a call, you know, providing a little bit of WordPress support that's got nothing to do with our project. And that person comes away from that call thinking, oh, wow, they were super helpful. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's
the difference, isn't it?
Stopping that and saying, oh, I'm not doing that because it's not part of our product. But it's about the balance of the customer knowing that they're getting a little bit extra here and then not taking it too far. And that this call just seemed complete opposite. It was just like...
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, because I was thinking, like, why does sometimes it feels really good to be helpful, and why sometimes does it feel like it's just sucking the life out of you? And I think that's the difference. It's in how it's approached from their point of view. Because if you're getting the feedback from them, like, you're going above and beyond, and like they're like, oh, thank you so much, like I wasn't expecting that level of service, then it feels really good. If you're on a call where it feels like you can never meet their levels of expectations because they're ridiculous, then that just drains me. I'm just like, no matter what I do for you, it's never going to be enough. And I think that is the difference, isn't it? It's like, I totally get that. And like at the end of that call, I'm sure you weren't, I mean, I don't know what the end of that call was like, but did you feel good? Did you feel good at the end of it, or like
not at all? Not at all.
Was the client very satisfied with the service you provided? Did you get that impression?
Probably,
right?
Because I've kind of fixed something that they didn't get fixed, that they needed fixed. So I guess they were, in a sense, satisfied with what they received. But the other, like, if I was on a support call about something, like, I just don't think I'd have the nerve to just say, oh, by the way, I'm having this problem with the user list in WordPress. Like, just something random, and like, and that's what like took me aback. It was like, really?
Yeah.
But anyway, we helped. We tried, and hopefully they're happy. So we'll see.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. All right.
I need to work on that though. What my tact is going to be for the next time that happens.
You're usually pretty good at those things, though. Like, I'd say you're much better than I am about just saying what needs to be said. Like having them kind of the slightly more difficult conversations. I'd say you're more skilled in that than I figured out. So let's wrap it up for today's show. Thank you so much for joining us live on YouTube. Thank you for listening on the podcast or for catching it at a later date. We always appreciate you being here, and especially for the comments. There were some lots of comments today, which we always love. We really, really appreciate. So thanks for everyone who commented. Before you go, please just hit the like button. Just a little click. That's all it does. It doesn't change your life, but it might change yours. So like, and consider subscribing if you haven't already, and do share the show. I mean, if you do think that if you enjoy watching this or listening, someone else might as well. So consider sharing it to your network. Apart from that, we will see you same kind of time next week. See you soon.
Bye-bye.